If you've ever played against an opponent who used their buildings as obstructions to prevent your units from killing their villagers, then you know the challenge that breaking walls can be. Sometimes it just feels like you're banging your head against the wall, or in this case, your swords. The opponent just repairs their building with a villager, and you're stuck outside for eternity. Well, I have good news and bad news for you. The good news is that even if you can't break your opponent's walls, you're still doing damage in the form of repair costs and villager work time. The bad news is that the cost of your units often outweighs the damage that you do. In this video, we'll be focusing on the rate at which you take down buildings versus the rate at which buildings can be repaired. Let's start off in the Dark Age. There aren't too many units and buildings at this point, but you still have to make some decisions as to which buildings to hit. The three main buildings that you have to choose between are houses, Palisade Walls, and resource drop-off camps, aka mills, mining camps, and lumber camps. The three resource drop-off camps have the same stats, so they'll all be considered the same for our purposes. There are only 5 units available to attack with within the Dark Age, with only 3 being available for each civ. The units are Villagers, Militia, Scout Cavalry, Eagle Scout, and Camel Scout. Since Eagle Scouts do the same damage as Militia, and Camel Scouts only do 2 damage, we'll be mainly talking about the other 3 units in Dark Age. Before we look at our units and buildings, let's go over repair mechanics. Villagers repair all buildings at a rate of 750 HP per minute, with additional villagers contributing only 375 HP per minute. In other words, additional villagers contribute half of the original villager's repair rate. The only exception is the Romans, who repair 5% faster, leading to 787.5 HP per minute for the first villager and 393.75 HP per minute for subsequent villagers. For this video, we'll be just focusing on the regular repair rate, but just know that Romans are a little bit better. The cost to repair buildings is half the original cost of the building to repair from 1 HP to full. This means that to repair a house from 1 HP to full, it costs 12.5 wood. Civilization bonuses also can affect repair costs. Malians get a 15% wood discount on their buildings, which also results in a 15% discount on repairs. Incas and Franks' cheaper stone buildings and cheaper castles also give cheaper repair costs. Bohemians' cheaper universities and blacksmiths, Saracens' markets, and Cuman archery ranges and stables can also be repaired for cheap. Mayan wall discount also applies here, but repairing walls already costs so little and replacing them is usually better. Since the repair cost has to do with the building's HP, increasing a building's HP reduces the resource per HP that you need to spend. This is relevant for Byzantine's HP bonus for all buildings, Persian's double town center HP, as well as masonry, architecture, and hoardings upgrades. As a side note, town centers repair at the same 750 HP per minute as regular buildings, but only cost wood to repair, even though they cost 100 stone to build. Instead of costing the usual 50% of the cost of the TC to repair from 1 HP to full, aka 137.5, they cost 2 times the wood cost, aka 550 wood. This makes repairing TCs extremely costly. Since Persian town centers have double the HP, the cost per HP to repair is halved. A prime example where repair cost is very different, even for the same building, is a Franks castle with full upgrades versus an Aztec's castle which doesn't get any upgrades. With masonry, architecture, and hoardings, Franks castles have 7,028 HP. Since they cost only 488 stone to construct, the repair cost is 28.8 HP per stone. Assuming the Franks is on the high ground, an Aztec trebuchet without siege engineers will do 318 damage per hit. This results in 1,908 damage per minute. To repair this damage, you'll need 4.08 villagers, which cost 66.25 stone per minute. On the other side is the Aztec's castle that doesn't get any upgrades nor bonuses. Their repair cost is 14.77 HP per stone, and they will take 603 damage from a trebuchet with siege engineers on the high ground. This results in 3,618 damage per minute. The Aztecs will need 8.65 villagers to repair that damage, but with a hefty 244.96 stone per minute. Hopefully this demonstrates the effectiveness of discounts and HP bonuses for buildings when it comes to repairing. For the rest of the video, we'll be focusing on generic building HPs and costs. First up, let's look at our units and buildings' relevant stats. Villagers do 3 melee damage, along with having +3 against buildings, and a whopping +6 against stone defense. Militia and Eagle Scouts do 4 melee damage with no attack bonuses. Scout Cavalry do 3 melee damage, and Camel Scouts do 2. All of these units have an attack rate of 2, which means that they attack every 2 seconds, or 30 times per minute. The only additional bonus that you can have here is the Hindustani's +2 against standard buildings for their Scout Cavalry. For our buildings, let's start with houses, which have 550 HP, -2 melee armor, and building and standard building armor classes. The armor class indicates which types of bonus damage the unit or building takes. So for houses, villagers do +3 damage against them, leading to 8 damage per hit. The hill bonus applies at the end of the damage calculation, so multiply 8 by 1.25 or 0.75 depending on if you're on the high or low ground. By the way, Tatars get to multiply their high ground damage output by 1.5, but it doesn't affect the damage reduction. If our math is correct, villagers should do 6 from the low ground, 8 from neutral, and 10 damage from the high ground to houses. This results in 180, 240, and 300 damage per minute respectively, and requires around 4, 5, and 7 wood per minute to repair. You have to also factor in the fact that the villager repairing isn't collecting resources during this time and is effectively idle. For our purposes here, we'll assume the villager would be collecting wood at the rate of the best wood upgrade available in the current age. Ignore any walking time to and from the building, and also that the building gets repaired to full HP. It's not often that a building gets repaired to full HP, so the damage you'll actually be doing can be likely quite a bit less than the numbers I come up with, but it should at least give a good estimate. If we factor in that villagers collect wood in Dark Age at a rate of 23.4 per minute, this brings the wood cost to repair a house against one enemy villager to around 27, 29, and 30 wood per minute. As we can see, the villager idle time is what makes up for most of the costs associated with repairing here, which begs the question, what if you just placed another house behind the house that's being destroyed? Houses cost 25 wood and take 25 seconds to build. This results in 60 wood per minute for the base cost, plus 23.4 for the potential lost wood from building. Building new houses constantly with one villager, therefore costs around 83.4 wood per minute in Dark Age. Let's compare this to the repair limit for one villager, which is 750 HP per minute. If you're repairing 750 HP per minute on a house in Dark Age, you'll be spending around 40 wood to repair versus 83.4 wood to build new houses. Of course, building new houses is beneficial as you'll need them eventually. Just real quick, let's visualize 750 damage per minute. Militia do 6 damage per hit to houses, and Scout Cav do 5. With the 3 Militia and 1 Dark Age Scout, you only do 690 damage per minute to a house on neutral ground. This means that in order to force a second repair villager, you'd need 4 Militia, which is a huge investment. With 4 Militia and a Scout, you end up doing 870 damage per minute. One villager can still repair the house for 275 seconds before it falls if the repairs were started right away. Basically, you're never breaking buildings in Dark Age if your opponent reacts. With all that out of the way, we can finally get into the numbers for the other buildings in Dark Age. Palisade Walls have 150 HP in Dark Age and cost 3 wood. They're built in 7 seconds, which results in 1,285 HP per minute. Since they have a very low wood cost, repairing them is very cheap, costing just 1.5 wood to repair 150 HP. The main issue is the villager work time. Factoring in villager work time, building a new Palisade Wall costs 5.7 wood, whereas repairing 150 HP costs a bit more at 6.18 wood. The rate is even worse for repairing in Feudal Age, since Palisade Walls get 100 more HP, so the build time remains at 7 seconds, but the repair time becomes 20 seconds. This results in repairs costing 9.3 wood. Generally, replacing walls is better than repairing them. The number we really want to focus on here is the cost per minute to repair. Houses take around 40 wood per minute, Palisade Walls take 30 wood per minute, resource drop-off camps take around 86 wood per minute, and barracks take around 78 wood per minute to repair. This means that in terms of forcing repairs, targeting a mill or lumber camp might be your best bet. That is until you consider that you'll be doing less damage to targets with higher melee armor. Palisade gates only have 240 HP, 2 melee armor, and cost 30 wood. This means that they cost around 70 wood per minute to repair. Comparing 3 militia and 1 scout hitting a house versus a palisade gate, we see that against the house you do 690 damage per minute, which forces 40 wood in repairs. Against the palisade gate, you only do 210 damage per minute, resulting in 17 wood per minute to repair. Since lumber camps and barracks both have the same melee armor, but lumber camps cost more to repair, it's always better to hit a lumber camp over a barracks when it comes to forcing repairs. If we look at the lumber camp numbers for this scenario, we see that it costs 37.5 wood per minute to repair. This means that in Dark Age, attacking houses is best, though resource drop-off camps are pretty close. There's one other building that could come up, especially on Nomad starts, and that's the dock. If you build your TC near an opponent's dock, how many villagers do you need to outdamage one repair villager, and is it worth it? Docks have 1,800 HP and 0 melee armor. They cost 150 wood, so the cost per minute to repair is 31.25 wood and 25.8 food, as the villager that will be repairing would have been bringing in fish. Villagers do 6 damage per hit to the dock, so to reach 750 damage per minute, you'd need 4.17 villagers. This already means that if you attack with less than 5 villagers, you won't ever destroy the dock, as your opponent will just repair it back to full HP with 1 villager. If you use 5 villagers to hit the dock, it costs you 117 wood per minute, which is roughly double the cost of repairing. This means that taking down your opponent's dock can only be good in certain strategic situations, but it's definitely not cost effective. I guess we might as well look at villagers against stone walls and gates on Arena a bit too. It is absolutely never better to repair stone walls and gates unless you don't have the space or stone to replace them, or you're not in Feudal Age so you can't build them yet. For a stone wall, it takes only 1.74 stone per minute, but the villager that repairing still costs you 23.4 wood per minute. Stone walls only take 10 seconds to build, so 5 stone plus 3.9 wood to replace, or 2.5 stone plus 33.7 wood to repair from 1 HP. Gates are not really much better either, so as the defender, your best bet is just to wall behind with other buildings if you're not up to Feudal Age and can't stonewall yet. The maximum number of villagers you can have hitting a stone wall is 4. Villagers do 6 damage per hit, so you can take one down in 90 seconds. Gates also take 6 damage per hit from villagers, but they have 1,650 HP. In order to take a gate down in 90 seconds, you need to have 6.11 villagers attacking it. Good news is that you can fit 11 villagers all attacking the gate at the same time, but the bad news is that you probably shouldn't have this many villagers forward when you're trushing. The Scout Cavalry only does 1 damage per hit, so it doesn't contribute much here. The only time you should attack the gate is if you're trushing with at least 7 villagers. Since we're on the topic of walls and towers, that reminds me of a situation that I was in the other day. I was up against an opponent who tower rushed me, and I got completely wrecked since I think I didn't have enough villagers attacking a house that was used to wall the enemy villagers against a wood line. There were only 2 villagers building the tower, so let's figure out how many villagers I would have needed to destroy the house with 1 enemy villager repairing it. We're going to make a few assumptions here. First, there will be 1 villager building the tower and 1 repairing the house always. The goal is to see if we can break the house before the tower goes up, so that we can deny it by hitting the enemy villagers with our own. The opponent can still build a bit while you're attacking them, so let's shoot for breaking in when the tower is at 75% complete. The second assumption that we'll make is that it will take 20 seconds to get all of our villagers to start attacking the house, and that they're doing consistent damage the entire time. Villagers do 240 damage per minute to houses, so if you use 4 of them, you'll be doing 960 damage minus the 750 HP from the repair villager. This results in 210 damage per minute. Watchtowers take 80 seconds to build, so we'll subtract the 20 seconds that it takes to send villagers, as well as the 20 seconds that we want to have after the house falls to attack the villagers. This only leaves us with 40 seconds to break in. To take the house down in 40 seconds with 1 enemy repair villager, 8 villagers are necessary. It's probably better to send a few more than the minimum, since stuff doesn't always go as planned, but the key takeaway here is that you need 8 villagers to destroy a house in 40 seconds, or at least force a second repair villager. This is a ton of villagers, which you won't realistically have, so rushing down a house with villagers to try to break in to deny the tower is generally not viable. In the next part, we'll go more into feudal buildings. Thanks for watching.